Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM927. Facebook at 3FM927. And also on 3news.com.
A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Midday News right here on 3FM 92.7. We come to you live from our studios here at Desawe Kanda in Accra and our numerous affiliates across the country. We're also live on all our social media platforms on Facebook and on X. Coming up this afternoon, Asante Hene leads new push for peace in Boko as he engages factions at the Menchia Palace. Also, government launches ambitious special business startup initiative dubbed a Jumara as part of broader agenda to address youth unemployment. Plus, the Court of Appeal sets June 5 to give judgment in the case of Yao Asante Agyemang, an alleged accomplice of infamous convicted robber Atayi. This afternoon, we're bringing more details of these stories in the next 30 minutes. Do stick and stay. I'm Judith Brown. Welcome to the bulletin. We start from here. The Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II today resumes high-stakes mediation talks between warring factions in the long-standing Boko conflict, marking a crucial step towards restoring peace in the troubled region. While the initiative has received strong backing from President John Dramani Mahama, who reaffirmed his government's support for the Asante Hene's leadership in resolving the crisis, the mediation sessions scheduled from April 28 to May 1 at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi are being closely watched as a potential turning point in Ghana's efforts to end the violence. Well, we're going to stay on this. The talks are coming on the back of recent visits to the conflict area by President Mahama, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohonu, and the Chief of Army Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Interior, in consultation with the Upper East Regional Security Council, has renewed the curfew in Binduri Township and surrounding communities from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, starting Sunday, April 27. A statement issued by the Interior Minister Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak also reminded residents that the ban on the movement of motorbikes, tricycles, popularly known as Aboboya, remains fully in effect, emphasizing that anyone that is man or woman found violating the directive will be arrested and prosecuted. The minister called on the police of Binduri to respect ongoing security measures to maintain peace in the area and urging chiefs, elders, youth, and all citizens to remain calm and channel their efforts into promoting peace rather than resorting to violence. Well, Northern Bureau Chief William Evan-Sinkum is monitoring events at the Menchia Palace. He's joining us with updates. William, can you tell us really what is the latest on this particular issue?
Well, so all is set for the mediation process to begin, but what I have been told is that the fielding parties are still on their way to the Menchia Palace. They haven't arrived yet, but the Asante Hene, the king of the Asante Kingdom, Otumfuo Osei-Tutu, and his eminent chief, they are ready to receive the factions. We also understand that security arrangement has been put in place as far as this all-important mediation process is concerned. So, for instance, there's not going to be the convention as far as security in Menchia Palace is concerned. So we are going to see some intense security arrangements. We understand there's going to be a deployment of heavy police military presence here. Then, of course, there's also going to be some level of restrictions as far as movements in and around Menchia is concerned. What we also been told is a special arrangement in terms of transporting the fielding parties to the Menchia Palace. We've been told that they are not entering with their own vehicle, but there has been an arrangement for a vehicle to transport them from their various undisclosed destinations in Kumasi to the Menchia Palace. So these are some of the security arrangements that I have been privy to, or I am privy to, as far as a mediation exercise process, which is starting tomorrow, is concerned.
Right, William Evans Siku, many thanks for your time. He is our Northern Bureau Chief, bringing us all the details as regards to that visit there in the Boko municipality. We know that the Menchia Palace is going to be, engaging with this particular issue, but we're going to stay on this subject. Emmanuel Kuting is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. He's going to be giving us more details on this. Good afternoon, sir. What unique advantages does traditional leadership like the Asante-Henne's role bring to modern conflict resolution compared to government-led efforts?
Judith, thank you for having me, and very good afternoon to your cherished listeners. Indeed, if you look at the issue and the reference, it's purely traditional. But Otunfo's led mediation is just a one step out of many processes. So to me, at this time, this is one of the best news we've ever heard on Boku. I want to call on all stakeholders to support this initiative. Let us not forget that this is just one of the many processes. And as far as this aspect is going on, government must also look at other avenues of getting the elite from both sides and dialogue with them. Any processes out of Otunfo without involving the elite, it will come to nothing. Because when the traditional authority come out of these processes, they will go and consult. Whom do they consult? Is the elite from both sides. So I think that in as much as the Otunfo's process is about to begin, the government should equally explore other avenues to engage the elite of the feuding factions. We must also look at the role women groups can play in peace mediation,
right,
and youth leaders from both sides. So until we put all of this into motion at the same time, there could be some challenges in terms of drawback, because I know in processes like this, there will not be commitment from both sides. At best, they will say that, well, let's go and think about it. And when that happens, it means a lot. They are going to consult the elites from both sides. So that's why it's necessary for us to engage that other aspect. We shouldn't think that the Otunfo-led mediation is the financier to bring the peace in Boku we are all yearning from. We have to explore the other processes simultaneously.
Right.
And I
Mr.
also urge the media for us to resist from sensational reportage. It creates a lot of misinformation. And I want to plead with the youth of the feuding faction. They shouldn't put any inaccuracies or misinformation on social media. These kind of things don't help in the overall processes. So at best, those who are representing the various feuding factions before Otunfo, there should be the highest level of secrecy, such that they don't leak the processes to their group who tend to misinform the public. And you know what that can do to the overall process.
Well, Mr. Koting, you have been talking about the key factors that should be taking note, especially in this mediation process. But if you can tell us what other lessons from past mediation efforts in Ghana, example, the Dabon conflict, should guide this particular process?
Well, if you look at the Dabon crisis, there are some similarities, except that in the Dabon crisis, it was about succession plan. It was one same family kind of having misunderstanding over who will become the Yana. And because the elites and conflict profiteers were not properly engaged, it led to a lot of misinformation, and you saw how we had to struggle to bring peace to Dagbon. But this one is about who is the legitimate chief of Boku, and it's about two tribes. But however, if you look at the processes government has adapted, I think that if you just oppose it to what the previous government did with the Dagbon crisis, is the way to go.
And
but the challenge is that we have to get the elite of the feuding faction to play to the process. Otherwise, it will be go, come, kind of thing.
I see. Now, this could be our last chance to achieve a resolution in terms of this particular conflict. Should the worst happen, that's if the talks fail, what contingency plan should be in place?
To me, I don't want to agree that this is the last chance. You know, in peace mediation, where you don't think the saturation points will come, that's where it often comes. If you look at the Dagbon crisis, it went over 15 good years. There were a lot of mediation efforts that didn't happen. But as a peace builder, what we often look for is the saturation point, where both sides agree that, look, this is not taking of us anywhere. We need to sit down and talk. If you make it look as if the Otumfo-led mediation is the panacea to find a lasting solution in Boku, will be mistaken. And I don't want that impression created. That is why we are calling on all stakeholders who are peace-abiding to do whatever they can to support this process. But we pray that we don't have to go in circles this time round.
Right, many thanks for your time. Emmanuel Koting is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. Well, meanwhile, the National Peace Council is calling on politicians and business entrepreneurs with interests in the Boko conflict to prioritize peace in the northern region of Ghana. The Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, Dr. Amo, made the appeal at the ECOWAS regional meeting with National Peace Commissions and Council members of state. Take a listen.
I think there are people with interests in the Boko conflict. They may be politicians, they may be businessmen, they may be media men, they may be peace workers. There are people with interests. And I would want to appeal to all those with interests, whether you are a political actor, whether you are a media actor, whether you are an indigent from the area, or you are a businessman, because people use conflict situations to do their businesses. Some people do that, unfortunately. So I would want to, call on all that, yes, you may get your money through the unfortunate incident, happening. But are you happy when you see people killed in the manner that is happening? I mean, that is not moral. So I just want to appeal to everybody, including politicians and businessmen. We call them conflict entrepreneurs. Let us give peace a chance.
Well, we're going to move on to some more pertinent stories now, and the Court of Appeal has set June 5 to give judgment on the case of Yawa Santi Ajiman, an alleged accomplice of infamous Ayi Ayite, also known as Atayi, a convict serving 70 years for armed robbery and other offenses. Well, Santi Ajiman, a mechanic, was sentenced to 35 years in December 2002 for conspiracy to commit robbery and has since served over 20 years jail term. Lord Edu Asari was in court and joins me with details of this particular case. Lord, talk to us. What is the current status of Yawa Santi Ajiman's appeal? Well, it seems that we are trying to work the lines to reach George. But of course, let's take a listen now to George Kwabena Shaw. He's a lawyer for Asante Ajiman.
My client's name is Yaw Asante Ejekun. He used to be a motorbike repairer. And the link with Atayi was that basically most of the bikes of those armed robbers in the Atai fraternity were repairing their bikes at his workshop. So when the suit was made on Atai, for some reason, because they saw his name on their phones or whatever, in a way they added him to the conspirators for the armed robbery. And he had no counsel, and unfortunately he was jailed together with the Atai guys to a period of 35 years, and he's been in prison. But when I got wind of the case through the efforts of the then governor of Southern Prison, I looked into the case and I felt that there were some grounds of appeal because there was no evidence to link him either with the conspiracy or with the actual operation carrying out of the robbery. So I filed my appeal out of time, obviously, but the court agreed with me. And then it's been a long journey. It's almost 8 years now because, first of all, the records of the court were missing. We had to go to archives. We had to do a whole lot of things. So the appeal is now ready and it's now for judgment. And I think because it's my belief the Attorney General did not file any submissions in opposition.
Well, now we're going to head back to the courts. Our court correspondent, Lord Edwasari, he's joining us with more details on this. Lord, what's the current status of Yao Asante Agyemang's appeal?
Well, Judith, so Asante Agyemang is still serving his sentence pending the appeal. I mean, he was brought to the court today by the prison officers. Once the case was done, they marched him back. So we'll be heading back to Instagram until the judgment is given, and then he'll know his status. And you heard his lawyer, Mr. Shaw, talking about the fact that they don't think the evidence from the prosecution to link him to Atai's robberies, for which he's been charged, for which he was charged with conspiracy to commit the robberies, right. Judith. And so we'll be back on June 5, where the Court of Appeal panel chaired by Justice Janapari Batos Kujo will make their judgment on Asante Agyemang's appeal.
Now, what impact, if any, has the involvement of the infamous Atai had on this proceeding?
Well, from the conversations I had with his counsel, there's little to none, apart from the initial link where, because of his status as a mechanic, they use his workshop to repair the bikes. He's not really had any link with Atai, and so there's no impact on his case. The only frustration here when they're working on the appeal was that his lawyers say because of how far back the case was, they struggled to get the docket and then piece a lot of things together, and so it really led to the delay in the proceedings, and that's why he explained that he even had to file the appeal out of time.
Right, many thanks for your time. Lord Edwasari is a court correspondent. He has been bringing us all the details as regards to the Asante Agyemang Yao's appeal, and really we're yet to see really what would pan out in the court as regards to this case. But let's do some more stories, because President John Dramani Mahama has launched one of his government's flagship programs to tackle youth unemployment in the country, the Ejumera program. Well, the Ejumera program is a special business startup policy of government contained in the 2024 manifesto of the NDC. It is aimed at facilitating the creation, tracking and mentoring of a minimum of 10,000 businesses annually, with a special focus on young people. Ibrahim Abubakar will be joining us shortly, but ahead of the initiative's launch, Minister for Youth and Development and Empowerment, George Opariado, has been speaking. Take a listen. Well, we'll bring you that sound much shortly, but of course, Ashanti Regional Correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar, he's joining us with more details on this. Ibrahim, tell us really what's happening there. Hello, Ibrahim. Can you hear me? Well, it appears Ibrahim cannot hear us now, but of course we're trying to work the lines to reach out to him. This is about the president's flagship program. It is called the Ejumara program. It is supposed to tackle the issue of youth unemployment in the country. The Ejumara program is a special business startup policy of government contained in the 2024 manifesto. We know that during the election campaign that is in 2024, the NDC had promised such a program to help solve the issues of unemployment in the country. Well, it is aimed at facilitating the creation, the tracking, and the mentoring of a minimum of 10,000 businesses annually. And its special focus, as I have said, is on young people. We're still working the lines, but before we get to our correspondent, Ibrahim Abubakar, let's do some more stories. The cardinals in Rome have agreed to begin the conclave to elect a new pope on May 7th, 2025. They made the decision at the 5th General Congregation held on Monday morning in the Vatican's Synod Hall. Now, the conclave will take place in the Vatican's Sistine Chapel, which will remain closed to visitors during those days. Well, the conclave will be preceded by a solemn Eucharistic celebration with the votive Mass of Pro Elegendo Papa, attended by the Cardinal Electors. In the afternoon, the Cardinal Electors proceed in a solemn procession to the Sistine Chapel, where the conclave begins to elect the new Pope. Well, to validly elect a Pope, 2/3 majority of the electors present is required if the total number of electors is not evenly divisible by 3. An additional vote is necessary if voting begins on the afternoon of the first day. There will be only one ballot. On subsequent days, 2 ballots are held in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. For a short break. We'll be back with more news. Do stay with us right here on 3FM 92.7.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bill's Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the Midday News right here on 3FM 92.7 live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. Now let's head to the northern region because of this Sonyo Deng Festival. My colleague Christopher Amako is in Sonyo during the 2025 Deng Festival by the people of the Sonyo traditional area. He's joining us with more on this. Chris, paint a picture for us about the Sonyo traditional area and how this lack of social amenities that we know is affecting the residents in the area is panning out.
Yes, so the Sonyo traditional area is the second largest traditional area in the Bole municipality. This area holds a lot of potential when it comes to tourism, agriculture, and other activities. Now, for the past year, this issue have been lacking some basic social amenities, including access to road network, potable water, among others. So the residents are appealing to government
And what is the MP of the area and the Assembly doing about these issues?
Yes, so the Member of Parliament who represented the President John Dramani Mahama at this year's Day Festival actually gave some indication that government is working at getting some of their challenges resolved. He says that as a matter of urgency, President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Rules Minister to work on the borders for the footprint road. He has also asked that some of the community water should come to the area and explore and ensure that the people get access to potable water. When it comes to health, already they have a chief compound. He has indicated that the president has directed that the chief compound be expanded to a health facility so that he can take care a health center so that he can take care of the people around that area.
Right, let's take a listen to the MP for Sonyo.
He wants me to assure you that your problems are his problems. He's aware that you will require a small water project here at Sonyo. He's aware that your road network is not good enough. And he has instructed the road minister to tar the road from Bole to Kiape to Sonyo to Kope. And the assembly man will bear witness that the road minister himself was here in person. He drove through the road and gave an assurance that very soon he will award the contract for some road contractors to come construct the road for us. We are a people with different backgrounds. We have different ethnic groups in this area. What is important is for us to know that it is by God's design that we are all here living together. And so we need to see each other as brothers and sisters. We need to live in a peaceful environment. It is only when we do that all these projects that we are asking for, we will be able to deliver.
Well, many thanks for your time. Christopher Marco has been joining us from the northern region during the Sonyo 2025 Deng Festival. We know that there were issues as regards to the lack of social amenities that have been affecting residents in the Sonyo traditional area. And Chris has been painting that picture for us. And earlier, of course, you had the MP for Sonyo. Let's do some more stories before we go. And the MPP has moved its thank you tour to the Bono region as the processes of reorganization begins to pick up shape, while the party is attempting to implement recommendations of the Professor Michael Ukwe Committee report following their worst defeat in history. While the thank you tour has already begun stoking debate across media platforms after the party's 2024 flag bearer attributed their defeat to a number of issues. Dr. Bawumia blamed the hike in fuel prices days to the election as a cause for the party's inability to break the 8.
National Cathedral, National Cathedral after $58 million. Now, our inability to build the National Cathedral after spending $58 million got the citizenry angry. Our approach in Galamsey that costly, you will see all the mining communities virtually.
Now, President Mahama has directed the roads minister to design and construct the bridge from Eche Amanfrom to Adoso over the Afram River under his flagship Big Push agenda, while construction of the 3.6-kilometer bridge and over 100 kilometers of roads has failed twice as previous governments was unable to operationalize its construction to open up the Afram Plains linking 3 regions of Eastern Ashanti and Oti. Government says the design will be localized with an effective cost to aid agriculture and the establishment of satellite campuses of the university environment and sustainable development.
2 attempts have been made so far to get that bridge completed, done. So far, it did not materialize. He has instructed that under the Big Push, this bridge would have to be done to connect the south and the north, as you can see. The potentials are great. And this bridge, when done, connects Eastern region, Ashanti region, Oti, in a very strategic way to open up the place for big-time agriculture and investment in agro-processing and others. So one thing should bear in mind that we are not in a good place as a country. So we should deploy the best possible design that is efficient, that still meets the requirements, that is cheaper in cost, but not cheaper in quality. And then the consultants who will be responsible.
Well, apologies for that sound there, but that's how we end the bulletin right here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Judith Brown. Many thanks for joining us this